Tick tock, you don't stop. Tick tock, you don't quit. Tick tock, you don't stop. Tick tock, you don't quit.
Hello, I'm Timothy McIntosh, and I'm proud to bring you this video, Clipper Cutting Made Simple. We're going to look at how to achieve a woman's natural hairstyle. We will also look at how to begin the haircut, fading, tapering, and the finishing techniques needed to complete the haircut. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Hello, and thank you again for purchasing the video, Clipper Cutting Made Simple. We're going to begin with a before and after look at our model, Kiffany. Kiffany has a natural hairstyle, and the finished product will look like this. Blended evenly all the way around, a nice sharp outline, accentuating the hairstyle, blending the bulky region into the nape of the neck back there, fading it all the way out and giving it a nice sharp feminine look. Not a hard fade line that a lot of ladies usually get, but a nice soft blended look. We're starting with our first guideline. The type of clipper that you would need will be an adjustable clipper with 4 guards, your number 1, 2, 3, and 4 guard. We're going to begin with our number 1 guard going against the grain, creating our first guideline. And we want to take this guideline around the entire head, directly under the occipital bone, and bringing that guideline all the way around the head. What this first guideline will ensure is that we have a even haircut. There's nothing worse than beginning a fade with a crooked guideline, because that'll just throw off the entire haircut. The strokes that I'm using is just a consistent smooth stroke going against the grain, against the natural hair pattern in which it grows. I'm constantly combing the hair because a lot of times when the clipper goes against it, it doesn't lay back down by itself. So the comb really just helps it to lay it down so we can really go against the grain with it. Now the length on the sides will be determined by your client depending upon how much hair she wants off the side, how close she would like it. This first initial guideline that we are creating, it'll leave approximately about 1/8 of an inch of hair. And we're going back over our guideline just to make sure that it is even on both sides. And it's a good idea to look at your client face forward just to make sure that your guideline is even on both sides. constantly going against the grain. Now we're going to begin our second guideline, and our second guideline will be created with our number 2 guard. Again, we'll use the same motion going against the grain, creating our second guideline. And the second guideline should probably be a little bit wider than the width of your comb. I'm going to continue on going against the grain. That's the key to a really nice, even, blended, tapered look, is going against the grain. Because it really allows you to lift up those curls and really blend that hair. Consistent strokes coming on around the head. And as you can see, the haircut is already beginning to take shape. Carry the same motion around the back of the head. Constantly combing, constantly combing. You can really see how the hair really lies after it's cut, after you comb it. Bringing that same guideline around, just around the temporal area. And I have the clipper adjusted all the way back, all the way towards you. That would take off the least amount of hair possible in creating the second guideline. And now after you've created the second guideline, now you have 2 regions that you've created. Your first region that you've created with your number 1 guard, and your second region that you've created with your number 2 guard. Again, look at your client face to face to make sure that the guideline is even on both sides. And it might be a good idea just to retrace your steps, going back around the head, going against the grain, just to make sure you have that entire second region even. Even regions really allow for better fading. Now you have 2 really nice created regions there. Now we have region number 1, region number 2, and our third region is the bulky region at the top of the head. And again, the amount of hair that you take off will be your discretion and also the discretion of your client. We're going to use our number 4 guard. A good rule of thumb to remember is always begin with your number 4. You can always take off a little bit of hair to begin with and work your way downward. You don't want to start off by taking off too much hair. And the strokes that I'm using, the same consistent strokes, but this time, as you'll notice, I'm going with the grain. I don't want to take off as much as I did on the sides, so that's why I want to go with the grain this time. Again, I have on a number 4 guard. With consistent strokes. Cutting the hair with the grain. Same consistent strokes going with the grain. And you really want to get into the hair. A lot of different hair types may present different problems for you. A lot of the tighter curl patterns, a lot of the coarser hair, you may have to constantly comb through or pick just to make sure you get it even. Now I've moved down to my number 3 guard. And the reason I've done this is to bring the hair down just a little bit more around the crown area. That will further ease our blending and tapering. And as you can see, the hair is really starting to take shape right now. Really shaping up. And we really haven't even begun our fading yet. Same motions going with the grain. And the length of hair that is left on the top is a little over 1 inch long. Now we've gotten the top of the hair down to our desired length, so now it's time for blending. And again, the key to blending is going against the grain, cutting hair against the grain. We want to focus in on our first guideline that we've created. And we want to remove that guideline by reducing the level of the second region so it can blend into the first region. So to achieve that, we want to continue to lighten up the second region so it can gently blend into the first. And remember, we've created this second region with the number 2 guard. So we're going to put back on our number 2 and go against the grain, focusing, pinpointing our efforts around the first guideline. And as you go against the grain, you want to gently move your adjustable lever forward, cutting off more and more hair to further reduce the level of the second region. As you can see, it's starting to blend into the first. And again, this is really the essence of cutting. It's really blending each region into each other, so you really can't tell where one region began or stops. As you can see, we have 2 distinct regions, number 1 and number 2. And again, we want to just pinpoint our efforts around our first guideline that we've created. And as you continue to move the lever forward, cutting off more and more hair, you're going to eventually get to the point where it's not cutting off anymore. So now we want to still reduce that level, that region a little bit more. So we want to put on our number 1 guard that we initially created our first region with. Again, pinpointing our efforts around the first guideline, going against the grain. I'm using minimal tension, going against the grain, blending out that first guideline. And as you can see, it's really blending out beautifully. As you can see, the darker areas is where we really want to pinpoint our efforts. I'm using minimal pressure, just laying the clipper on the head and using minimal tension, going against the grain. Laying that clipper right on that head and going against the grain with it. And as you can see, you have a trained eye, so you can visually see which areas are darker, which areas may need just a little bit more attention, especially around that occipital bone. We want to really create the illusion that she has a really even bone structure there. And we can do that through our blending. Going right against the grain, focusing in on that area. And you can see it slowly but surely disappearing. I like to call this spot cutting because we're just really just pinpointing on different spots in the head. And as you can see a little bit, I'm using the corner of the clipper. The corner of the clipper really lets you pinpoint different areas. Instead of just using the entire width of the clipper, you can use a corner of it to pinpoint different spots. Still visually seeing which areas need attention, using the corner of the clippers just to hit those small areas. I'm a perfectionist, and I really like a precision hairstyle, and that really distinguishes this hairstyle from any other. Against the grain. And as you can see, it's really starting to take shape here. And the same thing we're doing with this first guideline, we're going to do with the second guideline that we've created. All right, that's done. Now we're going to move on to our second guideline. Now the goal again is to reduce the level of our level 3 or the bulky region, and reducing it into the second region so it can blend evenly into it. And the way we do that, we continue to lower the level of the head around the crown of the area, going against the grain, continuing with our blending. I have a number 4 guard on there. I don't want to take off too much too soon, so I use my number 4 guard to blend down that crown region. And as you can see, it's really starting to blend into that second region. And as you can see, we still have a couple of dark spots that need some attention. But we want to stay consistent with this blending motion going against the grain. Now here in this crown area, her hair grows almost at a 45-degree angle. So we want to continue with our motion going against the natural hair pattern. You can see we still have a little bit of line in there. And when you get that by continuing blending, going against the grain. Remember, continue to move the lever forward, allowing you to cut off more and more hair with that same guard on. And I still have a number 4 guard on. Constantly combing. Showing a little lever action there. And now we have on a number 3 guard. We moved it down a little bit. We need to take off a little bit more hair. So now we're going against the grain, same motion. Against the grain. Bringing the taper all the way around. And as you can see, we're pinpointing our efforts around that guideline. Our guide is going to be the key to an even blended haircut. As you can see, I'm kind of cutting against the grain on a 45-degree angle. It's really producing a nice smooth blend. You know, some clients' hair, it's just such a joy just to cut their hair because it just fades so wonderfully. We still have a couple of areas we need to work on. As you can visually see, a little bit darker. We're gonna knock that right on out of there with the blending. You really get the feel of your adjustable clipper as you begin to understand how much hair the lever takes off if you have it adjusted all the way forward, or how much hair it takes off if you have it adjusted all the way backwards. It all comes down to a matter of feel. Keeping consistent with the same motion, going against the grain. The entire haircut has been the same motion, going against the grain, blending, blending, removing the bulk with the grain, taking it down. But the key to this hairstyle has been blending. It's really looking sharp. All right. Now, this is a finishing technique that I'm doing now. This is called freehanding. And as your skill increases, you'll be able to freehand. And what freehand does is it allows me to get the split ends off. It's just a finishing technique, because a lot of times after you pick the hair, you have a lot of wild ends sticking up, and freehand really allows you to give it that really round look. It allows you kind of to sculpt the haircut. This technique can be used in a variety of different styles, especially with men. A long time ago, men used to wear those box looks. This freehand was really good in that. A lot of guys like to wear a little bit higher on the top, and freehanding really allows you to really give it a nice, sharp, sculpted look. All right, now we want to move to the shape up. And the shape up is performed with your outliners. We want to try to keep the shape up around her natural hairline. And the shape up, it really gives the haircut definition and sharpness. I really like the shape up because, especially on women, because it really accentuates the hairstyle and makes the haircut really look feminine on the woman. And for her sideburn, she wanted it cut on a 45-degree angle, just kind of adding to the sharpness of this hairstyle. Constantly combing. Sometimes you get a couple of hairs that like to lay in the wrong direction and still need cutting. Now, what we're doing around her temple area is making the shape up. Again, it's going along with her natural hairline, but making it into a C pattern. It's almost like the letter C. Really giving it a sharp, symmetrical look. really like to keep going over just to making sure it's really sharp and clean. I'm a perfectionist, so you just have to bear with me. And we want to repeat the same motion going around the entire head. We want to leave her front around her forehead natural and just shape her from her temple back around her ear, going down her neck, the side of her neck. All right. Now we want to focus behind the ear, around the nape area. Again, we want to try to stay right within her natural hairline. And again, this is done with your outliners, your trimmers. Kind of make sure also that your clippers are clean and free of debris. A lot of times the maintenance isn't kept up on them, so it's not able to give you a nice sharp look like this. It's also important to make sure you go get new blades for your clippers. Keep that sharp edge on there. And we're going to repeat the same motion for the other side of her hair. Want to make sure that both outlines right by her temple area are even. We don't want one higher than the other. Give her the same 45-degree angle edge on her sideburn. Pulling the ear down with your thumb. Edging right around that outline. And it's also important to look how I'm holding the clippers. It just gives you further agility in shaping. The clipper resting under my forefinger and middle finger, just being controlled by my thumb. I like to use the corner of the outliners to really give me that clean and precise look. Continue bringing it on around. Notice how the shaper really just brings out the hairstyle, just accentuates the even blending, the fading, her hair texture. Everything is just working all together. Touching up right around her ear, pulling down her ear with the thumb. It's really good to really try to learn to hold your clippers in a similar fashion. Coming around, repeating the same thing we did on the other side. Constantly combing. I can't stress that enough. Nice sharp line there. Nice sharp line. Next, we want to focus on the nape of the neck. We want to begin right at the bottom of the nape of the neck. As you notice, I don't have a guard on, and the clipper is adjusted all the way back, taking off the least amount of hair possible without the guard. We want to take it up probably about 1/4 of an inch to create your first guideline. Again, I'm creating a guideline. And that length there is just created without the guard on, adjusted all the way back. And later on, we'll begin to blend that all the way out by adjusting it forward and getting further down under the nape. I put the number 1 guard on. I'm creating my second line. Now my second line won't be as abrupt as it was in the haircut, but I'll be making my second line. See, each region that you create creates different levels. You have your level at the crown of the hair, you have the level right below the occipital bone, and then you have the level right at the bottom of the nape of the neck. And again, it's the number 1 guard, just going against the grain, creating my second region. And as it begins to fade, you can see different areas that may need some attention that we've neglected before by spot cutting again. And again, we have to keep in mind what you use to create each region. We know that right below the occipital bone, right there near it, we use the number 1 guard against the grain to create that region. So therefore, any imperfections that we see or any areas that need work, we can use the number 1 guard against the grain to work with those areas. All right. Now I have no guard on, and again I'm just tapering the nape all the way out now. Guard is adjusted all the way backwards, taking off the least amount of hair possible. And you want to keep your tapering low. You don't want to bring it up too high, because if you bring it up too high, it just throws the whole entire haircut off. Tapering the neck out really gives a nice sleek, gives the appearance of a nice sleek neckline. And I find a lot of cosmetologists really like tapering the neck out, with a lot of updos, a lot of styles that they use when trimming down the neck area. It really accentuates the hairstyle. It really accentuates any hairstyle, to tell you the truth. Blending, going against the grain. Continuing blending, just spot cutting, just focusing on some areas that I now see. Again, just any areas that just throw off just the total contour of the hairstyle. And this is what our finished product looks like. Uniquely blended all the way around. Oh, that is really nice. Blended from the top all the way down to the nape of the neck, a clean, sharp outline. And this is Tiffany's hair with just water in it. Just put some water in it, wet it up a little bit. And it's a finishing technique there. A nice sharp outline. Stay near the natural hairline and just really gave it a nice, clean, sharp look. Again, I'm Timothy McIntosh, and I really want to thank you for sharing this time. And I hope that you'll be able to apply this into your career. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.
Tick tock, you don't stop. Tick tock, you don't quit. Tick tock, you don't stop.